Hello, hello. That little voice in our head is the voice that keeps most of us stuck often for our whole lives. That little voice is the voice of our subconscious mind. It's the voice that often tells us, no, we can't, we're not good enough, leave it till tomorrow. You don't need to do that. Just relax. You know, this voice is responsible for our demise. It's not intentional. It's not trying to hurt us. In fact, it's got no intention at all. It's a tape recorder. It's the voice of our programming, the voice of our past, the voice of all the old people that came before us that influenced us. Yet it keeps us living the same life, even when that life isn't comfortable, even when that life isn't delicious. We all know we're creators, and we know that what we think becomes our world. And we start to think new. We start to act new. We jump at opportunity, and then this little voice speaks up. It gets loud, and it's in our own voice, and we listen to it, and we think it's true, and it scares the crap out of us, so we stop. We decide we're going to logic it out. Do you know where logic comes from? Yep, that same little voice. Logic comes from our past understanding and past experience and the experience of those that have been before us. We have to be brave enough to ignore that little voice in our head. Because while ever we buy into the stories in our head, it keeps us in the loop of same old, same old, same old. And we think we are playing safe because we are living in the known world. We are looking at our environment and we're responding or reacting to it. We're getting emotional about the environment that we're in, and we recreate that environment over and over and over again. And at some point, that environment gets so uncomfortable that we're encouraged to change. I know this because it was my story. I don't know how many times through my life I stepped out of my comfort zone to do something new and then about faced. And I thought it made sense, and I thought I was doing the right thing. We think by living in the same world that we will continue at least to live relatively the same as we're living, relatively comfortable. But the universe is designed for expansion. Nothing stays the same. If it's not expanding, then it's retracting. So every time we say no to that fear, every time we buy into that fear and we retract back to the safety of the known, we step into a slightly smaller world. We can see this by our bodies and the beliefs that we've bought into around aging. You know, we stay in this body believing it's our only existence and it's safe. Yet we watch it slowly decline because we're not expanding. We're not thinking new thoughts about our body, about our health, about our conditioning. If we knew that we were youthing, if we knew that we were getting younger, hello Lena, then that would be our experience. The cells in our body actually replace themselves within days and weeks. Even bones, the cells in our bones are replaced within months. We needn't live in an aging body, but we believe that as we get older, this is what happens. That's part of the subconscious programming. So, you know, we have this gap between what we know and what we do. We know that we are creators. We know that our thoughts create our world. Yet we don't continue to think new thoughts and take new action because it's uncomfortable, because it's unfamiliar, because the little voice in our head scares us. Fear is a product of the mind, nothing else. We have a conscious mind where we get to consciously choose the thoughts that we want, and we've got a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind can't refuse anything. The subconscious mind is open to every belief that the conscious mind emotionalizes or repeats. So we've got a whole stack of stuff in our subconscious mind just from vegging out in front of the television, just from being around adults and children in the playground while we were younger. We overheard people talking. We bought into it. We got scared. Maybe we heard them talking about us, and that created beliefs about us. And what most of us don't realise, that underneath the personality, we're all one. We're pure consciousness, infinite creator, perfection. And the only thing that makes this apparent separate vessel different from anybody else is my conditioning, my program, my subconscious program. And I may not have had control over what went into that program before I was born or as a child, but I certainly have the ability to reprogram it now. All of our actions and our habits are birthed by the subconscious mind. We think we've got free will to do what we want, but all action comes from our thought. So we can consciously choose something and do it, but unless we repeat that action, it doesn't become a habit, and we quickly switch back to old habits because the subconscious mind is in control 96 to 98% of the time. So unless we get deliberate with our thought, nothing changes. Unless we are aware that fear is only coming up because we've got new thoughts in our subconscious mind and new thoughts in our conscious mind and different thoughts in our subconscious mind, which is causing a chaotic frequency in the body, which we perceive as fear. When we understand that, we can say, wow, this fear is telling me that I'm headed into a new space, in a new direction. My new thoughts are taking me somewhere fresh and delicious. And my subconscious isn't yet in acceptance of these new thoughts. So when this happens to me, I acknowledge, I say, wow, this fear is showing me my past, my old self. And I can do the work then through repetition or through emotion, through visualizing my goal to change my subconscious mind. The more I visualize and give emotion to what I prefer, the sooner it becomes the programming in the subconscious. The more I repeat my desires, my intentions, the self-image that I prefer to be, the more I confirm all of this, the more it's getting into the subconscious. Any thought we emotionalize is planting a seed. We have the choice to plant beautiful seeds, or we get to plant thistles. And whatever we plant is going to be evident in our life. I don't know about you, but I don't like living amongst a forest of thistles. So becoming aware that there is a gap between what we desire and what we're doing is an important step. And then it's about us being deliberate with our thoughts and actions to create these new habits that do take us where we want to go. I've just set up a schedule for myself, which I am ticking off daily. And it's got quite a list on it. But this is holding myself accountable. This is ensuring that I do the work to be the self that I desire to be. I have made incredible expansion over the last few months. And it's because I'm being deliberate, because I'm doing the work on myself, not on the outside world. The outside world is an effect of who I am in here. I can whinge and complain about the outside world, and then I make myself victim to it. I emotionalize it and I recreate it. Or I can take control of my circumstances through changing me. I would love to help any of you step into the new versions of you, the more complete, the more whole, the more delicious versions of you. As we become more whole, as we meet with new pieces of ourselves through doing something new, through thinking something new. It's in the doing that we discover our strengths, our abilities, skills that we didn't know we had. We discover our determination, our will, our persistence. We discover our values. And as we own all of this, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and love ourselves whole, we become a bigger vessel for Source to work through. And life doesn't have to be hard. You know, I don't work hard. I work with intention, and I must admit I work very minimally. But we are paid according to the value that we add in the world. And I know that I am my biggest value to all of creation when I am myself. The more me I am, the more I've got to offer creation and other people. I was born unique on purpose because the universe needed, creation needed my unique perspective, and it needs yours as well. When we try to be something we're not, when we play small, when we play safe, when we hide or retract, we're actually not only cheating ourselves of a delicious life, we're cheating all of creation. You know, the world isn't in a particularly comfortable place for most people right now. You know, we've had 2 years of isolation and lots of rules and regulations put on most of us. And now the economy, according to these specialists, is in decline. We can get upset about that and go into fear, or remember that we are creators and choose to think and do something new, to create new. You know, the business I'm in online, the community I'm part of, we don't suffer through a downturn. The company that we're affiliated with has been around for 50 years. It's a company that's not going anywhere. And through all of the last 2 years, our business has thrived. And the reason being is that it's built around people, around expansion, it's conscious, it's supporting health, it's supporting wealth and connection, it's supporting our planet. And it took great courage for me 4 years ago to say yes to this business, because it was so far out of my comfort zone. And then 12 months ago, I invested so much money in becoming a consultant for the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and I thank my business, my online business, for that, because I invested more in that consultancy than I've earned in 12 months in any salaried position before. And I couldn't have done it without my online business. And that scared me big time. But I trusted in it because it felt so aligned. And it's changed my world. It's allowed me to supercharge my business. And it's allowed me to support all of those people, both clients and business partners, who have decided to jump into this business alongside of me. And I couldn't be happier. I know the value that I can offer others And I know the value that I've offered myself and continue to offer myself through holding myself accountable. It really is time for us to put our big girl pants on and to choose the lives that we want, to stop playing small. It's not a time to retract. It's a time to expand. To remember that everything comes through us, yet action is required. So have an absolutely beautiful day. I can't see all of your comments, Lena, but I'll go back and read them now. Big love to you all and have an absolutely magical week.